Embler Books presents The Good Time Girls at Christmas, written by Fiona Ford and read by Annie Aldington. Prologue. December 1931. The Christmas tree towered above her, bathed in twinkling fairy lights, the tiny bulbs shining as brightly as the Star of David. Studded in between each flash of light stood a carefully chosen ornament, each one hand-picked, selected for its beauty rather than sentimentality. In pride of place at the top of the tree stood not an angel, as was traditional, but a tiny dancer's shoe, complete with high heel trimmed in gold. As Renee Newsham stood in the centre of her parlour, looking up at the tree that seemed to take over half the room, she was transfixed. This tree was one of the most beautiful things she had ever seen. Gingerly, she reached out and touched one of the branches, afraid for just a second that her touch would destroy the magic. But in that moment, she had to check that this perfect vision of Christmas was real. Feeling the stubby pine needles against the smooth skin of her palm, she shivered with pleasure. Perhaps this Christmas all her dreams would come true. Perhaps, despite her misgivings at the situation she found herself in, newlywed to a man she despised to settle an old score of her father's, well, perhaps things might turn out all right. Perhaps there might be a little Christmas magic in the air. Growing up, money had been sparse, and there had never been much at Christmas time. Other than the tangerine she and her sister Lizzie enjoyed every Christmas day, there had never been any treats to savour and enjoy. At the thought of Lizzie, she smiled. Her younger sister was her best friend and confidant, the only woman in the world who shared her story and understood all that she had endured. This Christmas, her first as a married woman, would be different. This time, there seemed to be plenty to go around, with her husband already promising to shower her and her sister with gifts, as well as providing a goose with all the trimmings. Now this huge tree she had just finished decorating with ornaments Ronnie had chosen and paid for gave Renee a flash of hope. Catching sight of the shoe in pride of place, she smiled. This hadn't been an ornament Ronnie had chosen. This shoe was Renee's touch, and it meant so much to her. Seeing how the gold glinted in the last of the afternoon light, she hoped her husband would be delighted with her creative flair. Hearing footsteps behind her, she jumped in surprise, before she felt Ronnie's slim hands snake around her waist. "What do you think?" she murmured, his whiskery chin burrowing into the soft skin of her neck. "I think it's beautiful," he whispered, "but not as beautiful as you. Nothing is ever as beautiful as you, Reen." As her husband peppered her with kisses, Renee tried to relax as she gazed at the tree. For once, her husband seemed pleased with her. It didn't happen often, but she was getting used to judging his moods. As Christmas Day was in just 2 days' time, she hoped she could help him remain in a good mood. All she wanted was for this Christmas to be perfect. As Ronnie continued to press against her, Renee tried to quell the feelings of nausea that were never far away when he touched her. She had been forced to marry this man, this infamous criminal, to settle her late father's debt, and in the 3 months they'd been wed, she had felt nothing but resentment burned deep inside of her. But now, as she looked up at the Christmas tree, she found herself pushing aside the old resentments. Maybe it was time to learn to love this man. Perhaps this Christmas would be the making of them, and given how affectionate he was being with her now, she was sure it would be a day they would never forget. Suddenly, Ronnie stopped kissing her neck, and as he lifted his chin away from her body, Renee gave into the familiar tension that was never far away when her husband was nearby. "What's that?" he asked in a low voice. Renee followed his gaze. Ronnie was staring at the tree, just as she had been moments earlier, only instead of a look of awe and wonder, Ronnie was wearing a look that could kill. "What?" she gulped. She knew why he was upset. Renee had been sure to follow Ronnie's every instruction.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?